Welcome to Aguilar All Access, where we discuss the recent controversies over conservative Ben Shapiro's recent comments. Okay, so I just heard about this.
This is pretty impromptu.
We were going to record a different video, and then literally 30 seconds before we hit record on the other one, Josh told me about this controversy around Ben Shapiro's recent podcast, which I'm a big fan of. I actually listen to it every
used to,
podcast.
and then I fell out of it, but I want to get back into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a smart guy and has great ideas, and I think I listened to the podcast, didn't hear anything wrong, but apparently on Twitter had some different ideas.
Twitter always has them. They hear things very differently. Well, I don't know when this was trending exactly, but I saw this last night. It was the news. The headline on Twitter was Ben Shapiro says he'd pick up a gun or leave the country over Beto O'Rourke's stance on gay marriage.
I like how they put them in that order. Ben Shapiro would pick up a gun or leave the country. You know,
of course.
But okay, so I watched the podcast. I recommend everybody watch it. It was great ideas. He was talking about the recent Democratic debate over the letter people issues.
The alphabet people.
The alphabet people. I don't remember.
Is it alphabet people or letter? Regardless, either one is funny.
Yeah, but over the LGBTQ plus whatever ideas, and Beto O'Rourke made a comment saying that, I think a disgusting comment.
Oh yeah.
That churches need to be have their tax exempt status removed from them if they don't support gay marriage, which, I don't know if you've ever been to a church, but it's kind of like one of the big things that you're not supposed to
regardless of whether or not you agree with that, they're allowed to think that.
Right. And I don't necessarily agree with that. We had a gay wedding in our backyard, but
oh yeah, we did.
I don't care personally. But they should have the right to be opposed to it, especially at their church. You don't have to go. So he made these comments, and then Ben Shapiro was talking about them and stated that he was giving a line of reasoning, a logical progression of this thought process, saying that if we pull the funding from everybody who doesn't support gay marriage, that would be religious schools, every religious institution. Catholic schools and private Jewish schools would go out of business because they would get their status taken away from them as I don't remember the exact term, but for a school, they'd get that status taken away and they couldn't be a school anymore. So his main thought process, he was saying that if you take away that status, a bunch of Jewish and religious people will take their students, their kids, and make homeschools, like a large network of homeschools, and screw you.
Yeah, well,
basically.
They're not going to go back to public school.
Now, if they do that, he was saying a logical train of thought, they could just send the truancy officers after them because they won't think their homeschool is legitimate because they're not parading around the LGBT ideas. So he's saying if they try and send a truancy officer after his kids because he teaches them his ideals, which I think is a good thing. You should pass on your ideals to your kid.
Yeah.
What the hell is the point of having children if you're not going to instill values in them?
Just let them do whatever they want.
Anyways.
Yeah. Besides that.
And then he said because of this, he leaves him two options. Leave the country or meet them at the door with a gun to protect his children. That being said, this isn't the first time he said that before.
Is it not?
No, he's said this before a long time ago in regards to if he had a kid with gender dysphoria.
Oh, yeah.
If he didn't let them transition, they would try and take away his kids. And he said, try it, basically.
Yeah,
neither of his kids have gender dysphoria, obviously. But this isn't the first time he's made a comment like that, and rightfully so. If you try and take away my children, I don't have kids at this point, but if you try and take away my children or my family based off me teaching them values...
From the First Amendment,
from the First
specifically.
Amendment, religious freedom values, it's a civil war. That's not like...
That's not just, let's let it slide.
Overreach. That's not like, oh no, it's alarmist. No, you're starting a civil war. You don't get to do that. That is as pivotal as freeing slaves. That's as pivotal because you are taking away people's fundamental human right. In the civil war that we've already had against the free slaves and everything, that was because they were people being held hostage against their will, forced into slavery, and were treated awfully and less than human. you suddenly take away the basic human right of being able to teach your own children your values, and they're gonna instill their values into your kids, their ideas, into your children. You're gonna start a war. There's no other way around it. I'm not gonna let you do that, and I know Ben won't. I know nobody else will, because you wouldn't want us doing that as Republicans. Could you imagine if a Republican president was like, they're teaching their kids to be gay. Their kids are gay. Take them away. Send them to gay conversion therapy. It is no different. No different. This is disgusting. And the tweet's blatantly lying. And Beto O'Rourke's comments were awful. And
already,
the fact that people are parading around that they were great, just, ignore them. He's not going anywhere. I mean, he's going to go back to being a pot-smoking hippie in a year and a half.
Skateboarding.
Eating
which dirt. Andrew Yang does, and he does it better, apparently. So that's pretty cool.
I mean, Andrew Yang's a cool guy. I mean, at least he's consistent.
Yeah.
I don't agree with any of his policies
but at least he's not a leftist nutcase.
Yeah, I mean, his policies are pretty left, but he makes them in a very compelling.
He actually argues for them. He actually tries to use reason to defend his positions versus just screaming at everybody for having opposing opinions. He
doesn't do the Elizabeth Warren roundabout way of, you're gonna pay less if you have Medicare, but what about our taxes?
Well,
you'll pay less overall, but my taxes will go up. Shut up! This isn't what he does, but this is what everybody else does. This is what Beto O'Rourke was doing. Kamala Harris at that same panel announced her pronouns.
Did she?
Yeah.
Introducing
herself, she's like, Kamala Harris, she, hers. I don't know what they are.
I just think it's just she and her. Usually, it's like two.
She, her. There's three of them.
What? Oh yeah.
It's like him, his. I don't remember, dude. I don't care.
Yeah, who the hell cares?
You want to know what my pronouns are? The masculine ones, because I'm a guy.
Ooh.
But you can't take these radical ideas and then parade them around as if they're normal. And then if somebody says something that is actually makes sense, like Ben Shapiro, that if you try and take away my kids for me teaching them Judaism, I will fight back. How dare you be a radical? What the hell is wrong with this is gaslighting.
I know. I never knew the term gaslighting
order.
Until the past couple years when I've actually been involved in politics.
When Democrats made it their platform.
Gaslighting anybody on the right. And then if you respond with even a little hint of violence, whether it be anger, even if it's justified,
bro, chill.
Then you're being violent and you need to tone it down, or you're just gonna inspire mass shootings and hatred and blah blah blah.
Yeah, because that's the right does. We want everyone to die. Apparently, I mean that's how they parade us around.
I mean,
that just wants a war. It feels like,
they're making it seem like he's like such a radical, that like such a fundamentalist.
He's one of the
he would just kill somebody over opposing views when he couldn't be further from that.
He's one of the most mainstream conservatives out there, and if you think that any of his views are radical, you're insane. I mean, some of his personal views maybe you can argue, because I mean, like, just he's Orthodox. He's an Orthodox Jew, so saying that like you can't, keeping kosher could be radical to some people. I mean, I get it.
Not being able to eat pigs for whatever reason.
His personal views, maybe an argument. I don't agree that they are. That's just because I get religion. I'm relatively religious myself, but you can't say that a mainstream conservative like him is always radical, because that's what they're doing. They're trying to make a mainstream like Ben Shapiro seem radical, because anybody a little bit to the right of him suddenly seems like Hitler.
Yeah, is radical by
extension.
Yep.
And the only people that are moderates are the lefties. Are Joe Biden. Joe Biden's the new moderate. He's not really he's a centrist. He wants all Americans. No, he doesn't. He's a radical leftist.
Since when?
I mean, I don't think it's...
They love to parade around people as moderate when it suits them.
Yeah, they reach across the aisle, and Joe Biden, like, back when I, gave a shit about anything. I would reach across the aisle all the time and shake the hands. I mean, he's got shellacked for it by saying I would work with Republicans back in the day, even though they were racist. We got some good policies done. And
they just had to throw in that racist.
He was specifically talking about Jim Crow supporting Republicans, so genuine racist.
Okay, then that's fair.
But they would go on and say, "Oh, well, Joe Biden would work with racists. He's evil." And even though he would talk about how his record was a good thing, but I mean, he doesn't support that anymore. He's so far left, and I get it. You have to go left or right in primaries now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the idea now. Unfortunately, you shouldn't have to, but I get it. But there's no coming back. There's the point of no return where you just jump off the cliff with both eyes closed. And he did that the day he entered the race.
Yeah.
There's no more moderates. There's no more centrists. And people need to stop parading around that they're the moderates and centrists, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to shift it to the left. The moderates and centrists are people on the far left like Joe Biden. And the radicals are moderate Republicans like Ben Shapiro for saying that he would defend his children with his own life if he had to. They're the radicals. Not the Democrats who want to take away your fundamental rights. Not the people running. The people willing to defend the rights and the freedoms this country is based upon. They're the radicals. Not people like Beto O'Rourke, who's just a skateboard pot-smoking hippie. They're not radicals.
No.
You know, I mean, it wasn't radical when he, was drunk driving and hit somebody and led the scene, or I mean.
Which, if anyone on the right had done anything remotely like that, they'd be asked about it all the time.
Rightfully so.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, if that goes to character. Beto O'Rourke has no reason to be anywhere near office. And the fact that he almost beat Ted Cruz scares me.
Oh, yeah, he did.
It was closer than anybody would have wanted it to be. It wasn't like margin of error close, but it was terrifyingly close.
Interesting.
I mean, the only semi-moderate I can think of is one of our senators from Arizona. Surprisingly, Kyrsten Sinema has governed more like a Republican than a Democrat.
Yeah, she has.
She's a wild...
That's been super interesting.
She's a wild leftist in her personal views, but I have so much respect for how she is governed because she knows Arizona is a Republican state.
For now.
And, well, yes, but she knows that she's actually working for Arizona, not her interests.
Yeah.
If she was working for her interests, she would try and be on the squad. She could do it. I mean, this squad is Congress, but she can make her own Senate squad or whatever.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because, I mean, she's a lesbian, right? She's bi. I think she's married to a woman.
Oh.
She's not...
consider that a lesbian.
She's not straight. I don't know what it is exactly, but I know she's not straight. She's a woman in the Senate, and she's actually governing for her state. Could you imagine that?
No.
I mean, it's
States?
insane.
I thought we were just one giant country, not more like 50 individual
states that are supposed to... the
United
States of America?
Yeah. Separate but equal and all that,
But
own laws.
It's these radicals who are parading around that they aren't. That is terrifying. And this is just the first... or the most recent example of the radicals going out of their way to just further push the line of normalcy to the left.
Yeah, moving if there's one thing that they've gotten a little good at over the past couple of years, it's moving the goalpost.
And they do it just slowly enough that nobody realizes.
Yeah.
I mean, if it is a radical idea to defend your values, then go somewhere else.
Ooh.
I mean, you should...
That's a controversial take.
You should not be in the United States if you think...
If you were consistent, you wouldn't be.
Right. If you think it's a radical idea to defend your children and the right to pass on your ideals to your children. Now, obviously, I'm sure some people are going to say, well, what if Hitler was raising a kid in the United States and he was passing on his ideas? Well, there's a slight difference. He should also have the right to pass on his ideas. But we should also have the right to tell him he's an idiot and racist.
And if those ideas ever start to manifest as threats or violence, then that's when the law can step in.
Yeah, I mean, white supremacists have the right, not unfortunately, but they have the right, and they unfortunately use that for evil means to raise their children as white supremacists.
You can use your rights for nefarious purposes.
That doesn't mean those rights should be taken away.
Yeah.
And to say that a church or a religious school has to abide by your level of morality is blatantly asinine. You can't just suddenly say, you need to agree with my ideals, or I'm going to use Big Daddy government to take away your rights. That's not how this works. It's not how it was ever supposed to work. And if you think that's how it works, go to a country where it does work like that.
Like UK.
There are some that work that way. And if you want to be in a country that works that way, move to Canada, move to the UK, move to any country where you can be jailed for speech. We won't miss you.